Happy Sunday, everybody. Welcome back to, of course, it's our Sunday sessions. And of course, I'm kind of in the dark over here, but we're going to make it do what it do. I actually wasn't planning on doing a music portion today. And then, right after we kind of wrapped up our notes and everything, I came by the piano and I had this little medley, one of those things that came to mind. And I wanted to share a little bit of this with you. This one will be short, but I think it goes in line with what we're talking about today and how we're closing out this conversation. I'm going to play around with it a little bit, and we'll see. Did I freeze up on y'all? All right, here we go. I'm on the edge of something incredible, though I feel I'm running on empty. Don't feel sorry, I'm just getting started up, and I tell you I've done it on empty. I'm on the edge of something incredible, though I feel I'm running on empty. Don't feel sorry, I'm just getting started up, and I tell you I've done it on empty. I can't tell you what will work, I can't tell you what won't hurt. I can share these lessons learned from my emptiness. And I don't know what will go wrong, and I won't dwell on that for long. What I know is that I gotta keep moving, 'cause I'm on the edge of something incredible, though I feel I'm running on empty. Don't feel sorry, I'm just getting started up, and I tell you I've done it on empty. I'm on the edge of something incredible, though I feel I'm running on empty. Don't feel sorry, I'm just getting started up, and I tell you I've done it on empty. I'm on the edge of something incredible, though I feel I'm running on empty. Don't feel sorry, I'm just getting started up, and I tell you I've done it on empty. I'm on the edge of something incredible, and I feel I'm running on empty, but don't feel sorry, I'm just getting started up, and I tell you I've done it on empty. And I tell you I've done it on empty. And I tell you I'm running on empty, yeah. I'm running on empty. I hope y'all enjoyed that. Like I told you, it would be brief, but I wanted to share that, and I hope it did something for you. And I'll jump over into the other side of the studio so we can get this conversation started. Happy Saturday, folk. How are y'all doing, man? Number one, it's great to see y'all this morning. Obviously, I woke up and, came in, sat down at my desk, started doing my reporting, looking at everything that we got going on. Obviously, we have some exciting stuff coming down the pike. Tomorrow, I'm having a conversation with Drew, and we're going to be doing something different. It's going to be incredible. If you've never caught our Sunday sessions live, tomorrow is definitely one that you didn't want to miss. But I got down and I'm sitting at my desk and I'm going through my stuff. I'm going through my sites. I'm going through my notes. I'm unpacking my schedule for next week. And I just so happened to look at my stats and I said, oh, we're over 50,000. Like, oh my goodness, we have over 50,000 subscribers. Like in January of last year, we had 52 subscribers. 52 subscribers. And as of today, officially, we have over 50,000 subscribers. Y'all, my mind is blown. My mind is blown. I am incredibly humbled by this, and hell, horrified a little bit too. This shit is scary. So while I collect myself, I got one other song that I do want to play for y'all and then we're gonna jump into a little bit of conversation. This is just gonna be some quick chat, and I want to give you a little bit of background of how we got here, and we'll just kind of talk. I do want to remind you I have an all access event that's coming up on June the 20th. That's for my patrons. That's for our BC 101 grads. That's for our window shoppers and for our YouTube members. So if you're part of any of those, you get free access to that event. It's going to be very casual. It'll be an Ask Me Anything event. So instead of me just kind of talking like I do now, and because I can't read the chats because they're so small, when I pull up the song, I will be able to read some of them. But instead of that, it'll actually be more conversation, more Q&A. And so if you don't want to go through any of those avenues, you could just go to Window Shop and buy a ticket to the event as well. That's also an avenue. But I do want to play another song because obviously y'all know my theme is kind of like keep rising. It's very important to me. It's kind of the way that I live my life. I don't know if y'all have noticed, but I'm very improvement centric for myself. Always working on different ways that I can improve, that I can be better in ways that align with the goals that I've kind of set for myself. And then, of course, transitioning from being a man of faith to a man of reason, if you will, that deconversion process for me and that reconstruction process for me, that transformation, if you will, was shifting from being in the place where I am a rising ape to being in the shifting from being in the place where I'm a fallen man to being in the place where no, I'm a rising ape, man. And so my goal in life is just to keep rising. And we were in when we did our Keep Rising series, I was looking for this song for our Brit City music portion, looking for somebody to do a cover, and I could not find it. And when I'm working, I always have playlists that are typically playing in the background. And a song came on the playlist, and I was like, wait a minute, I was looking for this song. And it just happened to be a friend of mine who was singing it because this is actually how I initially found her when she did some work for me several years ago. So just kind of in the spirit, if you will, of rising up, of going from 52 to 50,000, of making global impact, of continuing to do the work that we're doing. I've been wanting this song to be a part of our work for so long, and I was so excited to realize that, yep, I got a friend who can sing it. So here's Shakoria Marsh, and she's going to be singing a very familiar tune that, man, if it don't ring with the work we do, I don't know what does. So I hope y'all enjoy it.
You're broken down and tired of living life on a merry-go-round, and you can't find a fighter. But I see it in you, so we gon' walk it out and move mountains. We gon' walk it out and move mountains. And I'll rise up, I'll rise like the day. I'll rise up, I'll rise unafraid. I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. And I'll rise up, high like the waves. I'll rise up, in spite of the ache. I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. For you, for you. Silence isn't quiet, and it feels like it's getting hard to breathe. And I know you feel like dying, but I promise we'll take the world to its feet and move mountains. Take it to its feet and move mountains. And I'll rise up, I'll rise like the day. I'll rise up, I'll rise unafraid. I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. For you, for you, for you. that we have each other, and for that we have each other, yeah. We will rise up, we'll rise up, we'll rise up, we'll rise, and I'll rise up, rise like the day, I'll rise up, in spite of the air, I will rise 1,000 times again, and we'll rise up, high like the waves, we'll rise up, in spite of the ache, we'll rise up, and we'll do it 1,000 times again, for you, for you, for you, for you.
For you. She has such an amazing voice, man. Oh my goodness. Man, Shakoria, if you're seeing this, wow, I missed that voice. That was beautiful. That was beautiful. And yeah, I had to cut my fan on because it's starting getting hot. So now you're going to see my green screen moving. So just pretend like you don't see it. Just pretend like you don't see it. It's not there. It's not there. Don't look at the stuff behind it. Don't do that to yourself. Don't do that. No, I'm just playing. But listen, I love y'all, man. This has been it's been an incredible journey. Of course, I shared on my let me actually biggie size this so I can kind of see what's going on. But of course, I shared on my YouTube channel, one of the earliest videos is that the main reason I do this is, of course, for me to kind of breathe, because I had, I deconstructed, walked away from the faith over a decade ago. And just kind of, for the most part, kept it to myself. I did have some conversations with a few friends who made it clear to me that I must be out of my mind if I don't believe in God. And so obviously something was going wrong with my life and all of that stuff. And then, of course, started realizing that my family was going to treat me as if this was just some phase, or if the devil just has me right now. And I really didn't like the way that was impacting my sense of self, my sense of humanity, how I valued myself. And so I had to, it was 2023, and I was talking to my wife and I said, you know what, man, I'm not actually being able to live my life right now, and I've kind of closeted myself for the comfort of other people. And while it was okay, what it ultimately ended up doing was robbing me of building relationships with people who actually valued me for me, instead of just being in relationship with people who, well, I love you, but I don't want to hear about any of the stuff that's important to you, which is ultimately what it becomes. And so I even had to tell my mom this, because she was reaching out like, I miss you. And I'm like, I didn't tell you can't come by my house. I didn't tell you can't come over here. You chose to walk out because you're upset about who I am. That's your fault. And I said it. Now, as far as coming back, here's my issue. My issue is that you don't actually know me, because you've decided to ignore 90% of my life because it doesn't align with your imaginary friend who you don't even serve faithfully. And that's how I have to measure it by. You don't even live your life for this imaginary friend, but you're willing to devalue me. Like, you won't live the life, but you will devalue me because I want no part of that. That's actually, you may not realize it. I realize that means you have an inability to value me. And it might be because you have an inability to value yourself, but either way, that's just not something that I can tolerate. So I realized that, damn, D, for 10 years, and hell, it was actually longer than that, but you kept yourself stuck in places where you knew people didn't value you, knew people didn't appreciate you, knew people didn't support you, and you were constantly having to hide how you feel, filter how you feel, and filter your thoughts, and then even demonize yourself in a way as if what you're saying is the silly thing. You know what I'm saying? You have to treat yourself as if what you're saying is the unreasonable thing when you're talking to grown folks who believe in wanting bloodbaths and shit like that. Like, hell no. Don't do that mind fuck to yourself. No, I'm not going to be the one pretending like I'm the one goofy. No, you're the ones with the imaginary friends, which is why I tell people, for me, it was getting up from the children's table because so much made sense, right? I was expecting these people who were not healthy in their own lives to be healthy towards me. Oh man, no, it don't really work like that. So it was, it was a thing. And so I realized, man, I'm not actually going to build relationships that matter for me. I'm not actually going to get relationships that mean something to me unless I'm actually living authentically. I'm not even going to attract people to my life that are interested in the things that I'm interested in if I'm never talking about those things. So that was the decision I made in 2023, is that, like, I cannot keep this in-house. I have to start talking. And one of the biggest motivating factors for that, for me, and this is why the work I do is in the realm of community, is like, no, I need community. I was actually working on a startup in 2023 called Mastermind. And Mastermind was an education tech startup. I think some of you may remember me talking about it back in the early days. It still exists. As y'all know, I'm a hyper-productive motherfucker. But I was working on that startup, and I realized, because I hadn't been authentic in my living for over a decade, I didn't really have anybody in my life that I could even work with on the startup. I'm telling you how it happened. This is really how it happened. I was sitting there like, man, I'm trying to build this startup to empower people to change the way they approach education, to move education from courses into conversation, and using technology to do so that every student can kind of be in charge of their own educational pathways, that they can actually follow their own interest. And so, but I realized, because I'm surrounded by people who realistically believe that it's all in God's hand. Won't he do it? Yes, he will. Won't it, won't it, won't it, won't it? All that, look at God. Can't nobody do it but God. Because I'm surrounded by people who think that way, believe that way, approach life that way. They don't actually value education as a tool. So for many of the people that I was surrounded by, and this was the stuff that I was coming to, in 2023, what I realized is that, oh snap, religion is much more dangerous than just false belief. It's much more dangerous than just false belief. The utility of somebody believing the wrong thing is not very high. The consequences, it depends on what the belief is, right? But the danger of religion is not just believing things that are not true. The biggest danger is being separated from processes and knowing how to validate what is true, or not even what is true, but what is useful, or not even what is useful, but what is beneficial. And so for many people who have been indoctrinated by religion, education only exists for them from K through 12. And the sole purpose of that education is not knowledge of self. It is not self-discovery, self-exploration, and contribution to the world around you. It's to get a job and make mommy and dad proud. because everything, in order to be so deeply indoctrinated into a belief like that, you have to be separated from the concept of systemic thinking, you know? So you don't see education as a tool anymore. You see education as a temporary obligation. And this is honestly, I like to point out the broader impacts. This is the shit that scared me, because then it becomes clear that you have an entire fucking nation where the majority of people have been committed to not learning since they graduated high school, because they have been entirely separated from the process of education. I'm working on a video now called knowledge building, and I think I want to build that out to something bigger, because it's so horrible. Am I glitching for y'all? I don't know. It might be. Man, this is why I didn't like using StreamYard. But yeah, so I realized that, oh man, the problem is bigger than just people believe wrong things. The very tool that people would need to correct those beliefs, they've already neglected, they've abandoned. Man, why is it glitching? I hate StreamYard. StreamYard, stop glitching. Stop glitching. Maybe it'll come back. We'll see. So I realized that. And so I realized, like, okay, so number one, from a realistic perspective, as a startup owner at the time, I was like, yeah, there's no way in hell I'm going to be able to build this startup right now in the Bible Belt. I'm not going to find any believers to help me build this, because they're already detached from education. As a matter of fact, for many of them, education for many always has, within the religious context, it always has boundaries. It always has barriers. Do not pass this. Learn, but don't learn this. And I'm like, that's not education. At that moment, and that's why I say that's the scariest thing. So, man, beautiful. I'm glad I'm back. Beautiful. So I realized, I'm like, oh man, shit. Not living authentically has cost me. It's cost me. It's cost me, the most important thing to me, it's cost me being around other people who actually care about the world that they live in. That's what it's cost me. It cost me being around other people, building relationships with other people who actually want to do something, with their lives, to do something about the world around them. And I couldn't blame the people who were around me. I had to blame myself, because I closeted myself. In the words of Frederick Douglass, no man rides my back unless I bend down and let him get on. And that's what I did for 10 years. I bent over and I hid my identity, and it cost me. I hid my authenticity, and it cost me. It cost me genuine friendships. In those 10 years, if I could have been honest about who I was and authentic about what I thought about the world that I lived in, I could have a decade-old friendship right now. I don't have those. So I realized, like, damn, I'm going to have to rebuild my life. So when I started launching this content, it was me announcing to the world that not only is Darante an atheist, but Darante is an atheist for good damn reason. And I'm about to share everything I've been thinking in the last decade about why. And that's number one, why I have so much content. I have so much content because it's literally the conversations that I've been having with myself, with my wife and my kids for the past decade. Because that was the only safe place I could have these conversations, And now I'm good. And so that was the first part. I got to get all this shit out. I got to talk about all of these things. I have to be my true self. I have to be authentic. And it's so funny, like the stuff that you see with Bridge, I've been working on that for a decade. When I first started working on the vision for Bridge City, it was called Truth Nation, and it's gone through some iterations since then. It's kind of evolved as I've evolved. But I've been working on all of these things, Bridge City, Window Shop, Together We Can, Help and Hope. I meant to show some videos of Help and Hope. My wife and I, we ran 2 schools. We ran, I forgot about Sankofa. We ran Sankofa for a while, which were for adults who didn't finish their high school diplomas. We built a program for them to get an accelerated diploma. And then, so we ran Sankofa for about 1.5 years. And then we did Chancellor Woodson, which we ran out of our house. And so my approach is a little different. And I think my approach can come off abrasive at times. And, you know, I do warn people, listen, I was a Black nationalist. All right. So take from that what you need to. So when I look at things from a community development perspective and from a global change perspective, I'm quite frankly not interested in the bullshit. You know, like there's so many things that you can distract yourself with that make you feel like you're making a difference, you know, but you always have to ask yourself, who is this helping? And if what I'm doing is causing more harm than creating help, then I'm not a solution. I'm a wrecking ball. And I'm not interested in that. I'm not interested in tearing down. I'm interested in building up. You know, that's me. Those are the lessons that I've had to learn. But those are not lessons I've just learned in my own experience. It's lessons I've learned because I actually respect the experience of the people who put in the work before me. You know, I studied their lives. I studied their approaches. I studied their wins and I studied their losses. And I didn't run from them. You know, I didn't run from them. Man, Kazakhstan. Oh, man, that's beautiful. So glad to have you. So glad to have you. Thank y'all, man. Thank y'all. Like, I love y'all. This has been a beautiful journey, man. And I hope, you know, I always tell people my goal is not to be anybody's source of truth. You know, any information that I share is going to be a reflection of my lived experiences, my thoughts in those experiences, and the limited interactions that I've had with the world. So nothing I say should ever be taken as a source of truth or a point of truth for anybody. What I try to encourage people to do is just all information is simply a point of reference. You know, it's information that you can use and process with information that you already have in your head and determine how that works for you, you know, and that information may be helpful. Actually, all information ends up being helpful for me. It just may not be useful, you know? Oh man, y'all are amazing. All right. So I made the decision. Not only do I need to be authentic, but I need to find other people and actually see what friendships look like for me in this world. Like, what are friendships going to look like for Darante now that he's an atheist, now that he's a humanist? My friendships for the almost first 30 years of my life were defined by my family and then by my religion, you know? And so now I'm trying to figure out, what does Darante want his relationships to look like? Like, and this was all self-discovery. See, I became intentional about every aspect of my life. You know, I realized, man, healthy mind and a healthy body. That's my goal. You know, that's why I said, bruh, you are 580 pounds. You have 4 children. You want to be here for those children. You've got to drop this weight, you know? And in order to do that, you've got to figure out, where is the disconnect? What is it that you're missing? Like, I had hired personal trainers and everything when I was a pastor. Went to the gym, worked out, did the running on the treadmill, about to give my fat ass a heart attack. Like, it was horrible, and didn't lose no weight. And then when I lost this weight, I didn't go to the gym one time. Not one time. Didn't hire one personal trainer. Not one. I simply, we'll talk. Well, I started eating less for sure. I X sodas out of my diet, except for I stopped drinking sodas altogether. and just drink water during the day and alcohol at night. Got to have some fun times. Alcohol is not good for you. It's not. But I don't do everything that's good for me. I do some things that are downright naughty for me. All right. Anyway, so water during the day, alcohol at night. That's a naughty thing. That's not health advice. That is not weight loss advice. I don't think the alcohol is helping me lose weight. But as a matter of fact, what my real reason for making that decision was, I knew that I had to let go of the sodas, right? Because they were empty calories. And the main reason I knew that is because, like, dude, you drink sodas and you drink beer. That's a whole lot of empty calories. And I just drank way more sodas than I drink beer. So sodas go out. And not only sodas, but I said, if I still want to hold on to the beer, then I don't really drink juice or anything like that either. So it's primarily water throughout the day, because you got to watch those empty calories. A lot of things was killing some people, like just with weight stuff. It's not even just greed and appetite. A lot of times it's just the empty calories. It's the stuff you're consuming that does absolutely nothing for you nutritionally. You don't even really need it, but it damn sure builds you up. And soda will do that. Sugars will do that. Candy will do that. And like, I'm gonna give you some insight into like my fat boy moments. Like I was, and like I say fat boy, like I will still do this every now and then. So don't judge me. And if you do, I don't give a fuck. I don't know you like that. Like I was bad about buying like the big thing of Kool-Aid that already got the sugar in it and just eating it. Just eating the Kool-Aid, man. Poor people problems. I don't know. You grow up poor, you get weird attachments, like running behind the bug spraying machine. You do shit like that. Anyway. So I decided to start being very honest, being very authentic, start sharing who I was, because I knew I needed new relationships, and I knew that I needed a new community. I needed a new world. I needed a new fucking stratosphere, and I wasn't going to get it by playing myself down. I wasn't going to get it by treating myself like my views deserved to be closeted. I had to, again, going back to that Frederick Douglass quote, I had to stop letting people ride my back. We'd be at family gatherings, and people, knowing that I'm an atheist, will say, well, hey, Darante is going to bless the food for us. And you know what I would do in those moments? I'd bend down. All right, y'all, let's pray. It didn't hurt me to pray. You know what I'm saying? And that was always my thought. Like, it didn't hurt me to pray. I had pastor friends who knew that I was an atheist, but when they were doing events and they needed somebody to come get the crowd going, oh, Darante, you come do this. One of them, and this was like, I told my wife, I said, I can't do this, because one of them asked me, he's like, hey, I'm starting this new campus. I'd love for you to be the campus pastor there. And I'm like, dude, I'm not like kind of an atheist, like I am an atheist. I'm the atheist that other atheists are aggravated with, because I'm the hard atheist, Some, like most atheists, rightfully so, will say that you cannot say there is no God. I understand why they say that. I still say there is no God, because most other atheists are not anthropologists or sociologists. And so from a sociological perspective, I can trace the origin of God. All of them man-made, every single one of them. And so anything outside of that is not the same thing. Something shows up in the sky one day and just so happens to be a blazing fire. That's not the same thing. You get what I'm saying? So no, I'm one of those people. So I did. Even though, like, I'm this hard atheist, I had been bending so much that people were just used to it. No, Darante is going to be okay with it. He'll pray. No, Darante will come preach. Because what they did know, what they did understand about me, and I think they like that about me, I like it about me, is that they understood that I wouldn't come in their churches and be disrespectful. Not the way that some Christians come into my stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like I would never go into a Christian's church or any church, mind you, and be like, y'all crazy. Y'all need to stop this. This some bullshit. No, that's what Christians do. As a person who I think is fairly mature, I find stuff like that immature. So I don't do that, So they know that if I'm there, I'm going to treat it as if I'm at a cosplay convention. I'm not going to disrespect everybody's art. And so they were okay with that with me. But on the other side, there was just this aspect of, I think maybe we can get Darante back, you know. And I don't like being in a relationship like that. I resist being in a relationship with anybody whose goal is to change me. You know, the only person who changes me is me, you know. And it's the moment that I sense that someone else is, you know, trying to use something to say, oh, well, maybe we'll eventually get them back. And I'm like, nah, because at that moment, you're not respecting my autonomy. You're not respecting my choice. You're not respecting my decision, even though I'm respecting yours. And that is a pet peeve for me. One thing that I'm really good at is respecting other people. You will rarely catch me trying to police anybody else. You will rarely catch me trying to tell anybody else what they should have done, how they should have handled a situation. I find no utility in any of that. I'm doing my best to try to get people to treat me like I treat them. You know, man, come to your house every week trying to pull you back, and I'm like, no, please respect my autonomy. And honestly, that's a decision I made as a pastor when I was a pastor, because for years, y'all, when people would leave my church, it would break my heart. Oh my goodness, like I won't say all pastors had that particular issue, but for me, if someone left my church, it absolutely meant that I had to do something wrong, or that they were mad at me, or the devil was involved. And so I would try to chase those people down, because a good shepherd leaves the 99 to chase the one. And I'm like, that shit don't make no type of sense. So you're going to leave the 99 with no damn protection. That's just a whole damn sheep buffet for the wolf. So you're going to get one motherfucker who wandered off. Something's not right about this story. Something's not right about this story. But I would go, you know, I'd go call people, and I mean, I'd visit their houses, and I say, what can pastor do to make this right? You know, because I felt like that was my job. And then one day I realized, and it just happened while I was getting my first degree, I realized, oh, this actually isn't a healthy approach. And this may have more to do with my abandonment issues than anything else. And even though I'm framing it from a place of love and concern, this really may be a desire to control, to feel comfort. That's what I had to do with me. That's how I work with me. And I realized, man, I'm not actually hurt because you're leaving my church. You know, actually, I don't even have the right to be hurt over something like that. You know, not for me. You know, and so I had to kind of realize that, and I'm like, no, you have the absolute freedom to decide, oh, this doesn't really work for me anymore. And it's healthier for me to acknowledge that, because then that means, oh, my worth isn't tied to who's in the crowd. That's not what made me valuable in the first place. And so I actually started telling people, like when people left, and some of my members were like, well, such and such, they said they're not coming back to the church. I just be like, I understand. Pastor, you not gonna call them? No, they didn't call me. I feel like if they would have wanted a conversation, they would have called. So and this is what I used to frame it as back then, I learned how to respect people's peace. If you had enough peace to just be like, I don't really need, because they didn't need to talk to me to join the church. Why do they need to talk to me to leave? That's so weird. It's so weird. And a lot of times people will try to use the pastor to control other folk. You know? Oh man. But it's just, oh man, that's so right, Kentucky atheists. It's frustrating because you want to save them from themselves, but that's not how anything works. It is just not. Oh man. Oh man. So, damn, this is good. Matt, the first 5,000, right? Like when we hit 5,000, I thought, damn, this is it. How do we top that? What are we gonna do? We entered the year at 6,000, and I was like, man, it's all down here. It's all downhill from now, buddy, because I'm a realist. Like I'm I'm not an optimist. So if you're somebody who needs someone to be positive around you all the time, I'm not me. That's not me. I'm not. Oh no. I consider optimism extremism. I consider pessimism extremism. I consider realism, realism. It's just real. I'm gonna just stay right there. I'm gonna be as realistic about stuff as I can be. So I was pretty sure that, like, just based off of the numbers, we eventually plateau, because that's what happens. But at this moment, at over 50,000 subscribers, that puts us in the top 1.5% of all YouTubers. I did not see that coming from a mile away. But I know if I was still a believer, I would say it was the hand of God. I'd say, man, it's the proof of anointing. Oh my God. I'd do all that. I'd take you there. But now, number one, I can't take the credit for this. Not full credit. I'm gonna take some. Don't get me wrong now. Shit, no. Hey, I'm gonna pat myself. I'm gonna give myself some credit. A lot of credit, actually. But I can't take all the credit. No one person is an island. No one event is an island. No one situation is an island. There are many different moving parts and moving variables. And, this is why I do try to get people to expand more into systems thinking at times. Because I wonder, let's say 2023, I decided, you know what? Fuck it, man. I'm about to start telling people exactly how I feel and exactly where I stand, and letting them know that I'm an atheist and that I'm a humanist and that I'm working on this audacious vision that I should be ashamed of. I'm just going to start telling people. And what if there was no YouTube? Who the fuck am I telling? Not saying it wouldn't have worked, because YouTube is not, what we do on YouTube is not new. This isn't new. Having people who just publicly say what they think, man, this is old as ancient Egypt, ancient Mesopotamia, Mesopotamia. Oh, somebody gonna name their baby that. This is Mesopotamia. I like that. That's happening. Don't steal it. Don't steal it. That's gonna be a character in one of my books. It's gonna be a character in one of my books. But this is exactly what people were doing in the 20s and in the 30s. This is exactly what people were doing in the 50s and the 60s. Except for there wasn't a YouTube in the 20s and the 30s, but there were street corners. And so when you'd go through Harlem, on every block, there's 3 or 4 different folk just shouting, yelling. Hubert Henry Harrison was one of those people. Man named as they called him the Black Socrates. One of the first black atheists I knew of from the 20s. From the 20s. Is almost single-handedly responsible for the movement that most people call the Harlem Renaissance, which was actually called the New Negro Movement. Oh, man. Which was spawned by Hubert Henry Harrison, black atheist, and Marcus Mosiah Garvey, and Carter G. Woodson. This is why, for those of you who don't realize, may wonder, like, why does Darante? Because my last name isn't Lamar, by the way. Some people think my last name is Lamar. My last name is Martin. It's actually been in my family since before my family came to this land over here. It traces all the way back to a little island that was called back then Martinini. And so that's how my family ended up getting that name, because that was the island we were from. Thank you, Left-Handed Jedi, $2 super chat. Thank you, Kyle, $4.99 super chat. I got congratulations, well earned. Thank you so much. And we got the heart and the infinity symbol. That is beautiful. That is beautiful. Somebody said Darante is top 1%. Watch out. I'm the 1%. Oh man, no, I love y'all. Y'all are beautiful. I love sharing my stories with y'all. I love sharing my ideas with y'all. I don't want my ideas to become anybody else's ideas. I want my ideas to become a window into the possibility of you exploring your own ideas and seeing yourself in the world. I can't be everybody's sip of tea for sure. A sip of tea, cup of tea, whatever. And I won't even try to be, man. And that's what I want to model. I just want to model being me. That's why I named the channel DaranteLaMar, because it's gonna be me. And it's going to change as I change. And I don't want to be limited on anything. I want to be able to fully evolve and fully understand the world and fully experience things. And this sabbatical season has been incredible for me for being able to do that. Man, Myth Vision Derek, Darante, you're an amazing person. You will break 100,000 subscribers in no time. Let's show some love via super chat, friends. Thank you for the $5 super chat, man. Derek, I love you, bro. And and that kind of goes back to the community aspect, because I told y'all what was really hard for me was having no one to talk to. I think that's what people don't realize. Like, and now the hard part about it, I'm so fucking busy, I can't talk to anybody. And so, like, there's only a few people that I actually get to talk to, and it's not even regular. And they've all been so gracious with me, and I appreciate it. But I realized, like, I had no one to talk to about the things that were important to me. Everybody, I tell people all the time. I was on the phone with one of my best friends in ministry on the phone, and we were talking about what books we were reading. And I think at the time I was reading maybe The Ancestor's Tale by Richard Dawkins. I think that's the one I was reading, and he was reading something about the Bible. And then he made a statement. He was like, "Yeah, man, I was thinking about Noah's Ark and the flood, man. I was thinking about it, and I just felt so bad thinking about all of those dinosaurs out there dying with the people." I said, "You know what? I need some new friends." I got off the phone after that. I realized then, because there was so much wrong with that statement, right? There wasn't just one thing wrong with that statement. There was so much wrong with that statement. Just number one, the distance of the death of the dinosaurs, the extinction, and the emergence of humans, that fucking gap is so wide, you couldn't even fill it with God. You understand? That's how big of a fucking gap that is. They did not share space. This was the ultimate, give me 50 feet. You know what I'm saying? But then, the inhumanity to be sad about the dinosaurs, not all of humanity. Like, what? No. Oh my goodness. Oh man. Speaking of Forrest will I'll be on the line again Sunday. I didn't even know. Let me clarify. They had announced it. I didn't check. So I didn't know until somebody posted it in our Discord. I think Mark may have posted it in our Discord. And I was like, oh, I'm on the line this Sunday. This Sunday night. Thankfully, it's the late show. It's the late show. The Deep as Hell. Make sure y'all go over there and subscribe, man. He's just dropping new content. Thank you for $1.99 super chat. Here's to 50,000 more. Let's go there, man. Let's get there. Man, oh yes, those poor humans, also those poor dinos, also praise God, right? It's just like, oh man, I don't want to do this anymore. That's why I tell people, for me, it was like, yeah, I have to get up out of this, because I don't know if you noticed this about me. And this didn't start when I deconverted. This has been me my whole life. I have either visions or delusions of grandeur. I am a very ambitious person. I am not a competitive person. I prefer collaboration over competition. As a matter of fact, I was so anti-competition for the majority of my life that it did work against me. Like I couldn't even learn how to appreciate healthy competition. I was weird. But like, I've always wanted to do something major with my life. I grew up, like, as a kid. I talk a little bit about this in my book, Black Non-Believer Next Door, which, by the way, is available as an audio book now, exclusively on Windows Shop. But reading, Up from Slavery by Booker T. Washington, reading about people like Benjamin Banneker, which like I wanted to change my name to Banneker at one time, you know? And that's when I was a kid, reading the stories of Dred Scott, Frederick Douglass, Malcolm. Roots, I ain't like so much. I mean, people got their things. Roots was not one that did it for me. Rosewood was. I mean, it was more fictionalized, but damn. Ving Rhames, Don Cheadle, I salute you for playing those fictional characters, because it gave me permission to have audacity, to have ambition, to believe that, yes, even someone who is despised by many people in society is capable of making a significant difference. Unfortunately, I got saved shortly after that, you know? And so all of that ambition got wrapped up in Jesus, just wrapped up, tied up, and tangled up in the Lord. And everything had to be submitted to the divine will of God. And I had to check my pride at the door. And if any of it was attached to pride, I had to kind of lay it down. No, that's Darante, that's really just about your pride. Oh no, Darante, that's really just about people pleasing. Oh, Darante, but that's not about God. Only if it's built on God, it's gonna last. Only what you do for Jesus. Well, and it's just like, oh. But I still found a way to be ambitious within that. I think that's why I navigated to the more contemporary churches. Gave me a little bit of that permission to be me. And so when I was able to, I ended up building one of the fastest growing churches in this small city, because I'm ambitious, y'all. I'm audacious. And I'm not apologizing about that shit. No, I'm hungry, man. I'm hungry. I got a lot of lost time to make up for. There are some things that I want to see done. If it is possible that I can do something, that triggers global positive change, God damn it, I'm gonna try. And just because you believe that you can't, that don't mean I gotta believe I can. And whether I fail or not is irrelevant. It's irrelevant. There's a song by a little girl. She used to sing country music. I think it said, "There's always gonna be another mountain. I'm always gonna want to make it move. It's always gonna be an uphill battle." I think the next word ends with choose. You got to make it to the other side. It's the climb, you know? And that's once perfection went out the window, y'all. Failure was no longer scary for me. Once perfection went out of the window, it literally became about the climb. I don't have to care about how many times I fall, because there is no perfection. I don't have to care how many times I miss the mark, because there is no perfection. It's the journey for me, you know? Oh, man. Oh, yes. Plato's 5 Forms of Government with the Fall of Democracy in the United States. Yes, indeed. Is the name of the mark of the beast. That is hilarious. That is hilarious. Oh, man. So I enjoy the journey. I'm going to keep on enjoying the journey. And y'all are going to see me get more and more ambitious. And none of this is new. All of this is stuff I've been working on for a decade. It's a mission and it's a vision to actually do something with my life in the same footsteps of people like Marcus Garvey, but with an eye on all of humanity. I've been very transparent with my journey, with my supporters and my audience and my community. And that is, I got to humanism through Pan-Africanism. Now, I've been an atheist for over a decade. It took me a while to get to humanism. It took me a while to get to humanism. I didn't go from atheist to humanist immediately. I went from like atheist to Black nationalist immediately. I mean, I went from Christian to Black nationalist immediately. Now I was an atheist, but I was not a full-on humanist yet. Or at least I couldn't have articulated it that way yet. I still had to walk through the challenges of just how inhumane people could be to determine like, oh yeah, that's not what I want to do. And that's why like I'm easy like with the Heisman, with stuff like that now. Because no, I've already lived through that. And I'm like, no, I'm not interested in dehumanizing anybody for whatever reason that you may have. If I'm going to do that, I might as well go back to being a Black nationalist. I might as well go back to just calling all white folks devils. You know what I'm saying? And that's just not who I am. Primarily because I've been sincerely committed to actually understanding the problems, not the propaganda. And so many people are operating off of propaganda, you know, which is why the problems aren't getting solved. You're so busy in the distraction of the circus that you're not even actually doing anything constructive, you know? So that's what I'm trying to do. This, for those of you who have been a part of our Sunday conversations, I draw a line for our Sunday conversations. Sunday conversations is not Bash the Bible Day. Sunday conversations are not, let's talk about how crazy Christians are. Sunday conversations, let's talk about things that are important to us, that are going to help us live more fulfilled lives, that are going to help us be stronger as communities, that are going to help us create more opportunities for other people, that are going to help us support people. You know what I'm saying? That's what our Sundays are for. It's the people. Stupid. That's kind of one of those things that we do. But no, it's the people. And we need more of that, which is why tomorrow on our Sunday sessions, Drew is going to be with us. Drew Becky is. And we're having a conversation. And I'm telling you, it's going to be amazing. Drew, like myself, like Kyle Butler, like Derek Day, is a former pastor who is now a non-believer, who is now an active humanist. And we're going to have a conversation tomorrow about building humanist communities, how we have to celebrate inclusivity. Drew does something that's absolutely amazing called house parties, which is, I got so excited about it because it's something that I've always seen in the Bridge City vision. And Drew has just taken that thing to a whole nother level. So we're gonna talk about that. The week after that, Kyle Butler is gonna be with us. Yep, since we didn't get him last Sunday. And it turns out it was my fault. I put the wrong time in the notes. I did. But so Kyle is going to be with us next Sunday, and we're going to continue this series of conversations, because one of my goals is like, y'all, listen, I want to take these off because I'm sweating so much. One of my goals is we got to find, I got to get some people who are either just as excited or at least nearly as excited, nearly as compelled as I am to build local communities. You know, people want to know, okay, I'm about to tell you something like just straight up. How did this channel grow so fast? I worked my ass off. I don't know, man. I was working a full-time job when I started this. And right now, we have over 666 videos. We have over 666 videos on this channel. Not just videos. We have merch. Not just merch. We have content guides. You know, not just content guides. Hell, we got coffee, goddammit. I know, right? I've been working my ass off. I don't plan on stopping anytime soon either. I'm going to continue to work my ass off because it's important to me. Like, man, I love Celebratory. I'll be at NanoCon this year. Next month. Yeah. I'll be at NanoCon, and it's because of Celebratory. I love what they're doing right now with Secularizing. We are partners through and through. And Secular, Elliot was on with us a few months ago when we celebrated 15,000 subscribers. Do y'all remember that? 2 months ago, we celebrated hitting 15,000 subscribers. Elliot was on with us. Celebratory was on with us for that. I've got to get him on for a Sunday session so we can actually talk more about secularism. And so Kyle Butler will be on, which y'all know Kyle has done the Ex-Pastor Call-In show with me for over a year and is freaking phenomenal. And so this will be the first time that I've had Kyle on a Sunday morning, and it's just going to be me and him. And we're going to be talking like preachers talk. Like, did y'all enjoy the conversation that Derek and I had this past Sunday? That was preacher talk right there. And it made me feel good. Like, remember I told you, one of the reasons I started doing this, oh my goodness, is because I needed some new conversations. And oh man, it was refreshing. The week after that, I'll have Forrest Valkai on. And he and I are going to be, we're going to do this hard science, soft science thing, talking about how you can pull inspiration and motivation and even strategy from just getting a better understanding of real world science. And then, guess what? Don't call it a comeback, but Dr. Bird is coming back. So the next few Sundays are going to be absolutely phenomenal, man. Oh my goodness. Like, we've built a movement. Kyle, I don't know if you're still in the chat, but I don't know if you remember, like 3 months ago in one of the Sunday sessions, I started singing a song. We've built a movement, over 10,000 strong. How did we do this? How did we last so long? Somebody help me. Help us so we can stand. You know what, goddammit? I got to play the song. I think I still have it in here. I'm going to play this one. And I want you to, I play this stuff as a musician, as an artist. I don't necessarily make music to be entertaining. My music is deeply introspective for me. It's something for me, and I like to share it because it can many times articulate what I'm feeling, the complexity of what I'm feeling better than I can. And so this was that one. Let me see. I think it's Stand. Is it Stand? I don't know. I might play one and it's the wrong one, and if it is, I'll stop. We'll see. That one. It's not that one. Even though I like that one too. That one is dope too. But no, it's not that one. Good morning, Bridge City. Welcome in. I want to introduce a new song to you this morning for our Bridge City music portion. And honestly, I cannot wait till we're in a place where we're building local community all across this globe and able to create some of this music together. We built a movement over 10,000 strong. How did we do this? How did we last so long? Somebody help me. Help me to understand. It's wonderfully human. How beautiful this is. We were incredibly stupid to keep overlooking this. Somebody help us so we can stand. I think I want to sing that again. We built a movement over 10,000 strong. How did we do this? How did we last so long? Somebody help me to understand. It's wonderfully human. How beautiful this is. We were incredibly stupid to keep overlooking this. So somebody help us so we can stand. Let us bridges to a brighter day. Let us stand. That's one of my favorite parts right there. Let us stand and build these bridges to a better way. Let us stand. All right, let's take it back to the top. I'm not going to force y'all to listen to the whole thing, but that was just like 2 or 3 months ago where we were. So I had those things on the whole time. That was just 2 or 3 months ago. And I was overwhelmed because I was like, I don't know how we got here and I don't know what's going to happen from here, and oh my goodness. Oh, they wanted more. That's so beautiful. Y'all are so encouraging, man. Y'all are so encouraging. I appreciate y'all. I'll probably play another one when we close out. But no, man, I was like, man, we built something that's over 10,000 strong. And I think I had said when we did the 15,000 celebration that every time I try to get settled, it's like, okay, this is where we are. I can plan for this. Let's do this. We hit another growth spike. And I'm like, oh, snap. Now we hit 20,000, we hit 30,000, and we hit 40. And now we're at 50. And because I'm not just creating content, this isn't a hobby for me. This is my vocation. This is my profession of choice. This is the thing that I want to do with my life. And so I think, how did we do this? How did we do this? Number one, working my ass off. Number two, being as authentic as possible, And number three, trying to create space for other people to be able to do the same, Man, thank you, Penelope, for the $10 super chat. Your work is so important. I admire your integrity. I had a friend who led a church for 30 years as an atheist. He said communities still need marrying, burying, encouragement, etc. Congrats on 50,000. Thank you so much. And that is a real thing, man. It is a real thing. And if I can find, and Drew and I might talk about this tomorrow because Drew was also the president of the Clergy Project for a while. And I might be looking to develop a partnership with the Clergy Project to see like, hey, if you got any people who are coming through there who are releasing their faith, but they still want to be active, then man, please send them to Bridge City because we could use some people who still feel that in church, we called it that calling. And that's not a word that I liked very much. I felt like call ended up being a word that was so ambiguous that it ended up being a barrier to entry in leadership. So people didn't choose to do things if they didn't have a call. But I do think that's kind of one of the things that the secular community is missing is a strong, compelling internal, which is what a calling is. You must say, I felt called to do something. You felt compelled to do something. Like the power of Christ compels thee, but it's really not that compelling, But we need people who feel called or compelled to make a difference in very specific ways that make sense to them. But in order for that to happen, we have to create language for it. And I think that's really what my role is in this space right now, is creating not just the frameworks for what will be needed, but also creating the language that gives people permission to view themselves as able to make a difference and to give them permission to determine what that can look like for them. Obviously, for me, it's probably going to look like what I've always looked like, which for some people looks like motivation speaking. For some people, it looks like academic lecturing. For other folk, it looked like good old preaching. That is what Darante will continue to do. It's such an excellent vehicle of delivery. And I love it. It makes me feel good on the inside. It's a part of my art, But for some people, that may not be that for you. It may be starting a after-school program in partnership with the local community. It may be selling ice cream. I don't know. It could be anything. And that's really the thing, is that, man, I love y'all. but y'all overcomplicate things. You know, take a long view at history, and you'll see that there is no specific route to impact. Man, you'd be surprised at the things you could do that can make an incredible difference. Because honestly, those are not even the things that matter. The only thing that really matters is having somebody who wants to actually make a difference, you know? And if you can give me, man, oh my goodness, if you can give me, let's just say 12. If you can give me 12 people who really want to make a difference, who feel that compelling, like, no, I'm compelled to do this. Let me give you a demonstration of what compelled. I walked you through it. I felt compelled to do this. So while working a full-time job as a director of people and culture, I started doing this. And at that moment, I was technically working 2 full-time jobs. There was no vacations. There was no going out to eat. That's sometimes when people are asking me like, hey, can you do this? Can you do this? Can you do this? Can you do this? I'm like, are you fucking looking at my schedule? Are you looking at my output? Where do you think I'm getting this time from? You know, I know people don't mean it, but that is incredibly devaluing. I know people don't mean it that way, but it is incredibly devaluing, man. Oh my goodness. That's probably one of my biggest pet peeves. You know, I think Ryan Koltastic told a story one day, and I think I'll be repeating the story for the rest of my life. And she was about, it was a pastor she used to have, and people would ask him, you know, hey, how can I help? How can you need any help? How can I help? How can I help? And he'd always say, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. And they say, well, man, he's obviously overworking himself. But every time somebody come up, they say, how can he help? He just says, don't worry about it. And then somebody went up, and instead of asking, how can I help? Guess what they started doing? They started helping. You know what I'm saying? I am going to write that book called The Art of Being Helpful, because I think politeness and stuff like that has really fucked our mind up on what's helpful. I wrote a song years ago, and this was it was an emotional breakthrough song for me, but it was called "I Can Do Proud All on My Own." You know, I think it was I don't really need congratulations. You know, I don't really need so proud you made it. You know, because I can do proud all on my own. Because honestly, and this is me, I can't tell nobody else's story. I'm telling mine. For me, I was trapped for years in thinking that I couldn't really do anything if other people weren't proud of me. You know? So if I started working on something and other people weren't, oh man, that's incredible, I'd started feeling less and less motivated. And I eventually just stopped working on it, you know? And then I was like, dude, I think it was 2017 when I finally realized that, dude, you don't need them to be proud of your work in order for you to be proud of your work. And their pride, while nice, is not necessary. Nor is it really helpful. It don't really do shit. It don't really do shit. I can't take that to the bank. Can't do that. And if I'm already proud of it, then I really don't need the extra. You know what I'm saying? You keep that pride for you. You get you some pride, okay? But as for me, I can do proud all on my own. So save the congratulations, give me some compensation. Save the congratulations, give me some cooperation. Save the congratulations, give me some collaboration. You know? And that actually became a message to my family and to the community that I lived in. That I don't need your pride. I need your help. You know? And actually, don't even need that. I don't. And that's a whole nother story. And it's like, I could appreciate the help. We all need somebody's help. But as a person who approaches life with critical reasoning, if I have no help, but I still need to get it done, I've embraced my capacity to find a fucking way. I've embraced it. And maybe I'll hit a brick wall one day. I'm a realist, so that shit is possible. And because I'm a realist, I'll just like, damn, I knew this was coming. And I'll try to find a way to get through that brick wall. You know, get through the brick or die trying. Or whatever 50 Cent said. I had to make the joke. It was there. It was there. Feels like a Diddy joke should come after that because, I mean, 50, Diddy, it comes. But yeah, man. So, I've learned so much over the past 10 years of my life because when I stopped being a believer, I gave myself permission to interrogate myself. No sacred cows. I've got to move that shirt over to the window shop domain because right now it's still on my Spring account. But I have a shirt called Sacred Cow Grill Master. I got to get one myself, but because that's man, I started slaughtering every sacred cow in my life. And this is and I think I've cautioned y'all about me. Like y'all know I'm a little extremist with my stuff. So I tell you, which again, my life isn't your life, So I had to make a lot of different decisions. And you might not have the type of ambitions that I have. And so you don't need to make, extreme things. But I killed every sacred cow in my life. Damn it, I almost got like Jesus. Who is my family? But those that do the will of my Father. No, it got real. Everybody. I don't do ornamental. I don't do ornamental at all. And that comes from baggage of being a pastor, specifically a church planner. Now, mind you, there are different types of pastors. I used to run an organization called P3. Not from Charmed, for those of you who might get the reference, but P3 stood for pastors, planters, and preachers. There are preachers who do not pastor a church. They are not pastors. They're preachers. Some people will still call them pastors. There are pastors who get hired or voted in to preach at a church or to pastor a church. They are pastors. And then there are pastors who start their churches from the ground up. We call those planters. That's what I was. I was a planter. As a matter of fact, I had never been a hired pastor until I became an atheist. When I became an atheist, I did get voted in unanimously as the first African-American executive director of the Calhoun Baptist Association, which was a terrible decision. Terrible decision. Literally, my family and I lost everything dealing with those racist assholes. And I mean literally, you can do a little Googling and I'm almost sure the old GoFundMe shit is up and it looks like a hot mess because we can't remember the passwords to take that shit down. So it's out there. And I don't really hide from my past. I don't hide from my life. My life is my life, man. But no, and then the second time was a Baptist church, a National Baptist church. So the first one was Southern Baptist. Second time was National Baptist Convention Church in Webb, Alabama, called Pleasant Grove. And you can still find clips of me preaching at Pleasant Grove. I was good looking then too. Damn it. Yeah, I'm remembering what I was wearing. Y'all may not see it, but I'm kind of a fashionista type of person. I don't do it a lot because I've been broke my whole life. And so I also, I don't have attachments to brands or anything like that. Again, sacred cow killer. In order for me to get excited about a brand, you have to tell me its value beyond the name. Otherwise, I'm just like, oh, you one of them, huh? I don't like, nah, I'm not that guy. Comes from the same fucking factory, man. Same factory. So if there's shoes from one factory that cost, when that shoe come out, it's gonna cost $200. But there's another shoe coming from that same factory, having the same quality of work, that only gonna cost me $5. Oh, I wish I could find some $5 shoes right now. If anybody knows where some $5 shoes are, please let your boy know. I need some shoes. But yeah, like, so that I'm a sacred cow killer. In order to be like, even now, some of y'all are gonna say this is low, like, but this, like, I told my own mama, if you want to be in my life, you have to go through Bridge City 101. And I know that sounds rough. But nope. My thing was, you don't know me. You have not tried to get to know me, even though you had a front row seat to my life. You have more access to me than anybody else have access. You know where I live. You can come to my house at any time. If you expect to be in my life, you're going to have to demonstrate that you actually care about my life's work. And if you don't, I'm just not willing to play that game with you because you're feeling bad for yourself today. Because then as soon as you get back to feeling better, you're going to do the same fucked up shit you did before. And then I'm going to be left picking up the pieces. I learned a long time ago, I don't have to do that shit. I can recognize when someone's not mature enough to stop themselves from harming me. I can recognize it. Whew. There's an entrance exam for accessibility with those who love themselves and value their time. You know, I told a person who's actually a close friend of mine just recently, because they were going through a really rough issue that I was like, man, I hate that this is even happening. And they were trying to get in touch with me for a while and they couldn't. And I did call them back and I let them know. And I said, hey man, I love you. You're one of the few people that I will actually call back. But I want you to understand this, because I don't ever want you to feel like it's personal, and I don't ever want you to feel like I'm avoiding you. I said, I do not answer my phone. This isn't new. If anybody who thinks this is just me being uppity or whatever, you've not read my books then. The cheapest book I have available is Significant, And actually, there are a few ways you can get that one for free. But in that book, there's a chapter called First Things First. And in that book, I unpack this idea that I realized answering my phone is killing my time. It was killing my time. And oh my goodness. And so I wrote this. I said, first things first, priority. If I'm not expecting a phone call, I'm not answering the phone. If I don't know what the phone call is about, I'm not answering the phone. We live in an age of technology. If you have something you actually want to talk to me about, you can type it out. And then I will prioritize when I can get to that. That's not personal. That's not me being mean to anybody. That's me understanding that in order for me to accommodate life the way I choose to engage it, in order for me to honor my hyperproductivity, in order for me to do the things that make me feel like I'm alive, I cannot be on a leash. And that's what the phone became for me, especially as a pastor. The phone became a leash that anybody could get me on. And in most cases, because as you can see, I'm kind of a fun person to talk to, Those conversations would go on for hours and hours at a time. And I'd end up not getting anything done. And so I realized, like, Darante, just because they have your number don't mean you have to answer the phone. Because that's what I started going back over. I started going back through the conversations and realized none of these conversations are even beneficial to me. None of these conversations are helpful, which is even worse. And it's not just phone calls. I got that way. Like, I had some friends I was hanging out with for a while, and man, we'd have some beautiful conversations, hours long, 3 to 4 hours, man. And I'm just rolling up blunt after blunt. Yeah, man, I'm loving this. But I realized all they wanted to do was the conversations. Oh, damn. So you mean to tell me I've wasted months spending hours with people who weren't actually wanting to do anything about it? Oh, damn, that was a waste of my time. And so I do value my time. I value my time. That I made that decision in 2014, wrote that book 2014, and I've published over 5 books since then. You know what I'm saying? I've been in 3 movies. I got a documentary coming out. This is why I don't answer my phone. Someone made a snarky comment when I had an assistant about wanting me to do something, and they said, well, I shouldn't have to go through his assistant. I don't have to go through Seth Andrews' assistant. And I'm like, what the fuck does Seth Andrews has to do with me? You know? And so like, which the funny thing is, what that person doesn't realize is that I wasn't interested in being on their stuff in the first place. It was my assistant who thought it would be a good collaboration. And I'd be, sure, I don't mind. I'm pretty much open, or at least I was. I'm not open to collaborations now, you know, because I don't have the time. I found myself between February and April getting really frustrated, because I was tying myself to so much and nobody else was matching that energy. You know, I'm out here building websites while producing content, while building the guides. And I got more people showing up to complain than to construct. And then I'm having to navigate the complaints, which is then taking me from the work. And at the same time, I still have to manage a household with 4 kids and a wife. You know, and so like between February and April, man, because so many people just feel like they own you once they see you on YouTube. And it's like, hey, you do not own me. You do not get to choose anything about me. You do not get to dictate anything about me. Get the fuck off my dick. You know? Other people can run their stuff how they want to run it. I am not them. I do not stop and think, I wonder how Matt Dillahunty would do this before I do this. No, I'm not that person. I think about, how does this fit for my life? I don't know why anybody would think that me and Seth Andrews should be approaching things the same way. Like, man, get the fuck out of here. I don't know. I didn't mean to go there. I didn't mean to go there. Right? You can get a piece of my love is waiting for you. I like that. I want to put my love in your eye, baby. Y'all don't know nothing about that Bootsy Collins. Oh, man. Where are those disciples that he's still recruiting? I love y'all. So, yeah. So I don't answer my phone. Conversations, I'm not interested in all conversations. There's some people who are into this to, you know, it's like a hobby for them. This is not a hobby for me. This is my pathway. Y'all remember Pinky and the Brain? Y'all remember Pinky and the Brain growing up? I love Pinky and the Brain. I love Pinky and the Brain. I love Animaniacs. All of that. Hell, I even like Ren and Stimpy. Oh, man. The Happy, Happy, Joy, Joy song. What? But no. Pinky and the Brain. The Brain's daily statement has been etched in my head ever since I was a kid. There it is. What are we doing today? Trying to take over the world. You know? Like, that's what it is, man. Like, oh my goodness. That's what it is for me. It's if we can get it, I want to get there. Like, we have a shirt on Window Shop right now, and it says us 2028. You know, I'll let you do with that whatever you will. Us 2028, you know? But nah, man, I want to make a difference. I want to eventually have a good time while doing it. And so far, I think I've been finding my stride a little bit. Like, y'all, growth is complicated and it's complex, and it can take and I ain't trying to don't feel sorry for me. I'm like, don't be crying. Oh, he got 50,000 subscribers. It's so hard for him right now. I'm not trying to do that. I'm not trying to play that. but I am trying to say growth is complicated and it's a lot to adjust to, especially when, you're me. Like, y'all know I'm weird. Y'all know I'm weird as fuck. My neurospicy is all over the damn place. So yeah. Viva Revolucion. Yes. Oh man. Oh, started Bridge You recently. Only got more convinced that what you're doing is absolutely necessary. I love y'all. I love y'all. And Carrie Ann, you are absolutely right. It's a happy burden. It's a happy burden. Like I'm responsibility increases. You are talking my language, Carrie. That's what it is. That's what it is. That's what it is. Back when I was in the church, we used to call these good problems. When your church grow faster than you expected, it's good problems. It's problematic, damn sure. Which I could probably talk for days on how some of the most problematic things that have happened in churches outside of doctrinal issues happen in issues of good growth, where or issues of good problems, where the church grew so fast, and combined with this mindset of superstition, you don't really do background checks. You don't really do human resources check-ins, in a church context. Churches aren't even required to operate by human resource standards. That should be a problem. I say, like, and I'm gonna say this because I know it's like a lot of people say tax the church, and to me that's just a weird thing to because at that moment you're not taxing the church, you're taxing the donors. That's weird. But instead, because that seems to be more punitive than productive, because if one of the main reasons people who have money give to churches is because they're tax deductible, well, guess what they're going to stop doing when the churches are no longer tax deductible? They're going to stop giving the money to the church. So guess what? You're not going to get in that money anyway. So that's just weird. For me, that's weird. But a more productive thing, and that I think will be more necessary and would move us from that spot of just sounding like teenagers yelling at a building, is to say regulate the church. Fuck taxing it. I don't give a damn about that shit. That's a fugazi. You done got caught up in somebody else's bullshit. Regulate the church. If you really claim you care about people, then what you should be caring about is the human resources practices and policies that these institutions have and how they treat people. And that there should be some regulation there, and that there should be some oversight there, and that religious belief should not be a free pass to abuse folk. But any institution that has no regulation is open for abuse, and that's, y'all know me. That's like my big thing. That's my big thing. Regulation. I don't talk about my politics a lot because, number one, as a person who's a former Black nationalist, my politics can get a little out there. You ain't ready for me. But damn, I forgot what I was gonna say. Don't care about humans here, just talk. That's funny. But yeah, it's regulation. That is one of the things that I am a proponent for. I absolutely am ashamed by the way that this country has approached humans in politics. Every industry in this country that is an illegal industry is an industry that has unchecked abuse, and we are allowing it. So where prostitution is illegal, prostitution is not regulated, and people are victimized. Where certain types of drugs are illegal, those industries aren't regulated, and people are victimized. Some of the nuances of gang violence or drug violence, which sometimes get called gang violence, even when there's no actual gangs involved, is because there's no regulation. So if I have $50,000 worth of merchandise, a product in my warehouse, Okay? Someone else decides they want to take my product. They do. Because I'm a part of an industry that is unregulated, I have nobody to call to say, hey, I need to file a report. I need to get my insurance claim. Nope. So what typically happens? Scorched earth. I'm going to get my shit back, you know? And we could all say, well, people could just make different decisions. Yeah. We got to build a better society to get there, though. You know, which is why regulation. I feel like things need to be more regulated. You know, things need to be more regulated. If you're scared, go to church. Yes, I love it. Any church that operates like a business should be taxed. Simple. I don't know what that would do for anybody. People say that, but I don't know what it would do for anybody. Most people who said that have not actually sat down and wrestled with the definitions of business. Because you're just to let everybody know, all churches are businesses. But let me help you out. Let me help you out a little further. All organizations that generate any type of revenue is a fucking business. Okay? So that's really just disingenuous. It's not a church's job not to be a business. It's a church's job to be not for profit. Those are different things. And I told you, I'm a critical thinker. I'm not a bandwagoner. I am not a tribalist. So I'm not going to jump on this. I'm not going to jump. Let me tell you, one thing you're going to learn about me. If something you're saying is just propaganda tagline, I'm probably not going to align with it. Because 9 times out of 10, you haven't even thought about it. And even though I just highlighted that this is punitive and not actually productive, you're still wanting to do it, which means like, oh, this isn't actually about helping anybody. You just want to punish somebody. And that's not my form of humanism. I pointed out the greater issue. The greater issue are the humans that are being abused, but your concern is the money. That's what bothers me about a lot of what happens in the secular community. Is some of the stuff that people seem to be really attached to isn't fucking helpful. You know? And I'm gonna take it a step further. The secular community on one side says the church needs to be taxed. It's unfair. The church needs to be taxed. Now notice, they're not saying the temples need to be taxed. Just the church, which is an issue. Is it that nonprofit institutions need to be taxed? Is it that religious nonprofit institutions need to be taxed? Or is it only religious Christian institutions that need to be taxed? And if you're going there, you're talking about discrimination. But there's so much my-sidism in this fucking community that as long as we're discriminating against somebody I disagree with, then I feel good with it. That shit is weird. And I'm not here for it. On one side, screaming, we should tax the church because it's unfair. And on the other side, and we gotta work so hard to get tax exemption. And it's like, no, you didn't have to work that fucking hard. You chose to because you're so fucking egotistical that you didn't decide to identify as a religion, even though humanism is covered as a religion in the United States of America. That's you not knowing how to play fucking chess and getting mad because you're getting your ass beat. Sorry. Did I say that? I said it. Damn. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. Oh, man. You can't, oh my goodness, y'all. I'm about to get off because y'all aren't thinking this through. It's not the church that's tax exempt. It's the donors. Okay? And so that's what which it don't matter to me anyway, because I'm not getting any of the money, period. So it wouldn't matter to me. But it's just, I don't even know why that's a conversation in this community. It's such a weird thing. Let me ask you something. How is taxing the church going to protect trans people? How is taxing the church going to protect black people? How is taxing the church going to protect people? How is it going to feed the homeless? How to feed the hungry? How's it going to house the homeless? Like what? No. And for many of you, you know, this has been my spiel for a long time. This ain't new. If you thought this was new about me, you ain't been hanging out with your boy. No, I don't. I want to do things that actually lead to my goal. All right. And my goal isn't to be able to say, ha ha, I hurt you. That's so petty. My goal is to be able to say, man, I'm glad we were able to help. All right. So y'all do with that what you will. But as for your boy, I'll be more so focused on what we can build and how we can help. You know. Oh man. That's right. That is so true. Won't do nothing. But we also, and this is probably going to be the most controversial thing that I've ever said live, publicly. Y'all have got to let go of your superstition of government. That's so weird to me. It's so weird to me. It's like the government is doing this. You're the government. You are the government. I'll let you do with that as you will. But thank y'all for hanging out with me today. I think I'll give y'all another song before we go. I think I stayed on a lot longer than I expected to, almost 2 hours. Y'all got me on a Saturday. You know what I'm saying? Y'all got me on a Saturday. But I had to at least drop in because, man, we hit 50,000 subscribers. And yikes, man. Yikes. 50,000 subscribers. We made it. And we just getting started. Thank y'all for being a part of the journey. Let me give y'all some music to jam out to. Got to pick something funky. And of course, don't forget to come back tomorrow. I'm going to have Drew with me. It's going to be one hell of a time. And hopefully it'll be a lot cooler by then. But until next time, man, y'all keep rising.